Kevin Hart entered the courtroom convinced he was doing the right thing. He spoke with emotion, stood by Cassie's side, and declared that the silence had gone on long enough. But what he didn't know was that Diddy had been waiting for that moment. Just one day later, he made his move. Diddy's legal team came forward with new evidence. They called it relevant to motive. Everyone in the room saw it for what it was. This wasn't just a defense, it was revenge. In a shocking twist, Diddy pointed the spotlight at Kevin Hart, claiming he had been closer to the chaos than anyone suspected. Suddenly, the courtroom was watching footage, reading messages, and scanning documents that threatened Kevin's entire image. What was supposed to be a brave stand became a dangerous moment. On day 5, Kevin Hart had arrived unexpectedly and offered support to Cassie Ventura. His words were raw, honest, and heartfelt. He didn't bring proof. He didn't attack anyone. He simply wanted to support someone who had finally spoken out. He described disturbing memories. Doors that were locked, women crying, parties that turned into something else. The reaction was instant. Fans praised his courage. News outlets reported it as a turning point. Even Cassie showed visible emotion. Her testimony now had strength. One of the biggest names in entertainment had backed her. But while the public cheered, Diddy's lawyers were preparing something else. They took notes during Kevin's testimony. They didn't interrupt him. They simply waited. When the courtroom emptied that evening, they stayed behind. No one knew what they were planning. Everyone assumed they would respond by trying to discredit him with past quotes or affiliations. No one saw what was really coming. On day 6, the courtroom buzzed with energy. People were still talking about Kevin Hart's appearance. But then Diddy's legal team made their move. They opened with a sealed motion. It stunned the courtroom. Filed under the excuse of witness credibility and motive, it aimed to introduce material connecting Hart to Diddy's private world. Cassie's team objected, but the judge allowed some of it under tight rules. The gallery had to be cleared. Kevin had to be in the room. When he returned, Kevin was composed but tense. His lawyer sat unusually close. Diddy's lawyer stood and said something that silenced the room. The witness who spoke yesterday did not fully reveal his past connection to the very spaces he now condemns. Then they played a clip. It was silent, blurry, and dated from 2018. The setting looked like a mansion Cassie had described. A man entered a restricted hallway, followed by 2 assistants. The defense said that man was Kevin Hart. More clips followed. Kevin at events. Kevin with people from Diddy's circle. Nothing criminal. But the message was clear. Kevin wasn't just a guest. He had deeper access. Then came a text message. Kevin, allegedly, had written, "That setup in the basement is wild. Have you ever gone down there during a session?" The reply was blacked out. But Diddy's team read it aloud. They claimed it showed that Kevin knew about the tunnels Cassie mentioned. And it made his earlier testimony, where he said he never went downstairs, seem misleading. Kevin didn't say a word. His lawyer objected. Hearsay. Misrepresentation. No context. The judge allowed only part of the objection, but the damage had been done. Kevin Hart, once seen as brave, now faced doubt. The public had believed he was just a witness who spoke out. Now they were being told he might have known far more than he admitted. The prosecution tried to take back control. They called the defense's move a smear job. "We are not here to put Kevin Hart on trial," the prosecutor said. "Mr. Combs is the one facing these charges." But the judge interrupted. The credibility of any voluntary witness is fair game if it speaks to motive. And then Diddy's lawyer went further. He claimed Kevin hadn't spoken up out of courage, but out of fear. Fear that his name would come up later. Fear that silence would become a trap. Kevin stayed still. He didn't argue. He didn't look up. But outside the courtroom, chaos exploded. The internet turned on him. Clips leaked. Screenshots spread. Hashtags shifted. Kevin knew it began trending. Some said Diddy was trying to pull everyone down with him. Others weren't so sure. Within a day, Kevin Hart went from hero to question mark. And inside the courtroom, that silence screamed louder than anything else. Kevin Hart's name was no longer just a witness. It was now part of the courtroom's tension. People waited to see what he'd do, but he didn't react. He remained still while his attorneys prepared their response. Kevin's top lawyer, known for high-profile defamation cases, spoke directly to the judge. "We deny any suggestion that Mr. Hart participated in or was aware of criminal activity on Mr. Combs's property." She called the defense's tactics a distraction. "The footage has no sound, no context, and shows nothing illegal. Mr. Hart went to events hosted by another celebrity." She addressed the text message too. "It's vague. We don't know who received it or what it referred to." The judge listened, but allowed the defense to counter. They admitted there was no proof of crime, but they said the messages raised questions about motive. Why had Kevin really testified? Was he trying to shield himself? The jury watched. Some avoided eye contact. Others stared at Kevin. But the public outside wasn't waiting for verdicts. News headlines had already changed. Now they read, "Kevin Hart under scrutiny," and "Hero or hypocrite." Kevin didn't speak. As court recessed, he exited with guards. No words for reporters. His team released one line: "We deny all implications and will respond when necessary." But the doubt had taken root. Outside the courthouse, the story had taken off. People online now looked into Kevin's past. Old videos surfaced, red carpet interviews, party pictures. TikToks appeared showing Kevin joking about Diddy's parties. What once seemed funny now felt suspicious. One user wrote, "Remember when Kevin said Diddy threw the weirdest parties? Looked like a joke then, feels like a warning now." New hashtags appeared. Kevin knew why. Kevin and Tunnel Talk trended for almost a full day. Some fans defended him. "Walking through a hallway doesn't make you guilty," one said. Others questioned him. "Why didn't he mention this before? Why leave it out?" Even industry insiders joined the storm. One party planner tweeted, "Kevin was at more events than he let on." The tweet was deleted within an hour. But the screenshots lived on. Blogs jumped in. Kevin Hart in Diddy's crossfire. From witness to suspect. The media wasn't waiting for a court decision. The court of public opinion had already decided. Some now believed Kevin had stepped forward only to protect himself, that he knew something was coming, and tried to look like a hero before it all fell apart. Kevin's silence didn't help. He turned down interviews. He skipped his scheduled podcast. The man known for always speaking up now stayed quiet. When parts of the defense's evidence were unsealed, the public finally saw what had been introduced. It wasn't earth-shattering, but it was troubling. One item was a 2018 party guest list. Kevin's name appeared along with others from Diddy's production team. This event was under federal review due to claims of abuse and restricted access. Another document was a screenshot from a device belonging to a former staffer. It showed a number saved as KH texting about the setup downstairs and asking if it was always running. No official confirmation tied that number to Kevin, but it didn't matter. The suggestion was powerful. There was also a redacted statement from a former assistant. They claimed Kevin had escorted a VIP guest away from the main party. No crime was mentioned, but the idea was clear. Kevin knew more than he admitted. The judge said these items didn't prove guilt, but could affect how the jury viewed Kevin's testimony. That was enough. Suddenly, Kevin's past statement about staying on the surface didn't match up. Now, even casual knowledge of the tunnels became important. Kevin's legal team asked for the record to show he was never accused of any crime. The judge agreed. Still, Jurors now looked at Kevin differently. They reviewed his words. They glanced at Diddy, who sat calmly, quietly, confident. If this was chess, Diddy had moved a piece that shifted the whole board. When court recessed, Kevin Hart left, surrounded by lawyers and security. Reporters shouted. No one responded. For the first time, Kevin Hart was facing a national credibility crisis. Inside his legal team's office, the debate began. Should he go public, post a video, share his side? For now, they chose silence. But that silence cost him. Critics didn't wait. They dug through years of footage. A Reddit thread surfaced. It tracked every time Kevin was spotted at Diddy events from 2015 to 2020, with screenshots and timestamps. Whether it mattered legally didn't stop the storm. The internet had made up its mind. Even loyal fans hesitated. "I want to believe Kevin's the good guy," one post read, "but why didn't he tell the whole truth?" Later that night, his team released another statement. Mr. Hart stands by his testimony. He will not join the media circus that distracts from the real case. It was calm. I was cautious, but it didn't slow the rumors. Privately, Kevin was hurt. According to a source, he felt betrayed, not by Diddy's team, but by how quickly the public turned on him. He thought he was doing the right thing. Now, people were calling him a liar. So, what's next? That question now circles through every agency and office in Los Angeles. Will Kevin fight back? Will he speak again? Or will he disappear and wait for it to pass? The trial had started with Cassie's lawsuit and claims of sex trafficking. But now, it had become something else. Reporters filled the courtroom. New lawyers arrived. Federal agents took seats in the back. Because now, this wasn't just about Diddy. It was about everyone who had once stood beside him. Every star who smiled for the cameras. Every guest on those secret flights. And now, Kevin Hart's name was at the center. People asked, who else was on those lists? Who else stayed quiet? The prosecution noticed the shift and changed their approach. Diddy was no longer seen as a lone figure. Now he was a symbol of something bigger. A system built on fear and silence. Kevin had opened the door. Diddy had blasted it wide open. More subpoenas were rumored. More celebrities were being approached. Cassie kept calm. She left the courthouse quietly, holding her husband's hand. Her words had been spoken. Now the storm she started was growing. Kevin remained out of sight. But no one had forgotten him. No one had stopped asking questions. And as this trial moves deeper into secrets and powerful names, one thing is clear. Diddy may be the man in the courtroom chair, but the web around him is growing every single day, and this story is far from over.